How do we come back from this?
You don't. Welcome to a world without light.
Destiny 2 succeeds where the original failed the most. It delivers a story-driven campaign good enough to match its finely tuned first-person shooter gameplay and great looks. Gathering loot and upgrades through missions and activities with my fire team and then finally running the climactic raid together was a blast. And every time I thought I was scraping the bottom, Destiny 2 teased me with more to see and do that was just a few light levels away.
Eyes out, Guardian.
From the opening moments, Destiny 2 delivers Dominus Gall, an excellent antagonist whose cruelty deserves our fury. The campaign is filled with brilliant cutscenes that give the cast an opportunity to show great emotional range, and you can hear the sadness and determination in their voices.
Didn't dare believe. If the light can find its way back to you, then perhaps there is hope for us all.
That context kept me moving forward through fun missions set in eye-catching environments, including the exhilarating penultimate mission. While the final boss was underwhelming, I was left hungry to learn more about the world of Destiny. Thankfully, the excellent quests and more elaborate strikes add much improved boss encounters and an extra dose of story. The 4 world maps do a fantastic job of setting the tone too. Whether it's the milky waterfalls of Nessus or the overgrown European Dead Zone, each offers a colorful and unique palette to explore as you acquire their plentiful loot. Bungie encourages you to take all this in by withholding the fast-moving Sparrow for a little too long in order to force you to walk through it the first time. Meanwhile, a soaring soundtrack backs pulse-pounding missions before shifting gears to evoke a tinge of sadness.
All the years since my rebirth, this is where I return. The last place the Traveler touched.
The first Destiny is a strong first-person shooter, but subtle touches have made a big difference in Destiny 2 when it comes to making moment-to-moment combat more explosive and exciting. Popping an enemy's shield with the right damage type, or watching the soul of a fallen escape its body as you execute a headshot are welcome bursts of validation. And while there aren't a ton of different weapon types, the constant gear drops with game-changing exotic weapons and mods propel your power level higher, creating that feeling of growing strength and readiness to take on all challenges. The Titan, Warlock, and Hunter classes have been simplified relative to Destiny, but each still have distinct abilities that work well together with traditional tank support and DPS roles. Figuring out how to use subtle customizations and weapon pairings to make the most out of your chosen build is still a rewarding puzzle to solve. The Hunter dodge seems underpowered without certain gear though, since the other classes' abilities have a clearer, immediate benefit to the team. The biggest change to balance is the smart adjustment to one-hit kill power weapons. In the player versus environment, or PvE areas, the bright purple ammo packs are in constant supply. But in competitive game types, it can only be acquired by one player when the power ammo spawns in on its timer, leading to more explosive moments and fewer cheap deaths. Thankfully, the more standard kinetic and energy weapons feel balanced across the board. Another major shift from Destiny is that the competitive experience of Destiny 2 relies more on team-based tactics, moving away from Destiny's one-man army style. That usually works well since many of the PvP maps are well suited for the new 4 vs 4 teams, but a few feel a tad too large. This makes it easy and strategic to avoid the other team, often causing competitive playlist matches to drag on way too long. Destiny 2 succeeds in many ways, but after around 10 hours of story missions, quests, and strike missions, a few issues started to gnaw at me. For example, explanations of important systems like its odd gear modifiers or how to get your light level ready for the Leviathan raid are noticeably absent. One of my biggest annoyances is that you're forced to queue for random strikes or crucible modes, and there's no penalty for dropping out of an activity you didn't want. On the positive side, jumping from planet to planet or mode to mode is snappy and fast. but it can leave non-fireteam members stranded when 3 people leave the Crucible at once. The Leviathan Raid and its smaller endgame cousin the Nightfall are the premier PvE events of Destiny 2, and they're designed to keep hardcore Destiny players like me coming back. The Nightfall does this by forcing your 3-person fireteam to formulate a plan going in so you can capitalize on the rotating modifiers. There's a lot of skill and strategy that goes into a Nightfall strike, especially if you're attempting to complete some of the harder subquests at the same time, making these challenges highly replayable. Destiny 2's Leviathan Raid continues to live up to Bungie's high standards, offering new and varied puzzles and challenging boss battles that require 6 well-coordinated players to pull off. Unlike Destiny's previous raids, this one dishes out some interesting story revelations too. A few bugs forced us and other raid teams to restart several times and sullied my otherwise amazing experience, but Bungie says it's working to address that issue. With all of these engaging activities, there are 30 to 40 hours of great gameplay waiting for you in Destiny 2 before even considering the raid. However, when you approach max light level, there are only a few activities to participate in to get raid ready. But if Destiny 2 evolves as well as Bungie's roadmap promises, there's even more on the way. Destiny 2 is a blast out of the gate thanks to its excellent co-op shooter gameplay and strong storytelling in the campaign. Not all the features I'd expect to find are there, but it does deliver the same kind of highly social gameplay and rewarding loot-driven progression that helped the original keep me hooked for hundreds of hours. The main concerns right now are a few bugs and lack of event options, but I'll definitely be sticking around to see this big, action-packed universe develop over time. For more on Destiny 2, check out our graphics comparison or Fireteam chat every Friday at 5.
If we wait, we die. But if we attack together, we can take back our home, our light, our hope, or we die trying.